This is Jake with HID Auto Vision. We're here today to show you some basic things about your HID kits, some of the different connectors you may see, how those work, and generally how you would connect the kit together. We're going to start today with some 35 watt slim ballast. You can get the 35 or 55 watt in the slim, or we also have the premium ballast, which come 35 or 55 in the canvas. Now, all the ballasts are going to have the same connections. You have your input connection here, which is going to be the connection that your old bulb that went directly into your old bulb, and then you also have the bullet connectors on here. Is what we call them. Those basically go to your new HID bulb, and we'll show you that in a minute. Again, all ballasts are going to be the same as far as the connections go. They'll be different color maybe. You may have a black wire here, something like that, but in general it's all the same connections right there. Okay, so ballast aside, we're going to start with some bulbs here. I got a couple different sizes here just to show you guys the different connections. This is a H11 bulb right here. If you notice, you have your connector that fits right into your ballast here. All your bulbs are going to have that, and it's always going to be on this side of the grommet, the same side as the bullet connectors. And the reason that is because in some vehicles you have a cap. So you'll have to drill a hole in the cap to pop this grommet through, and you need your stock connector inside the cap. So this is going to be your stock connector for an H11. You notice it looks very similar to this one, but if you look close, it's a little bit thinner here, and you have your two tabs on this side, which this one doesn't have. That's because the H11 may look different depending on your vehicle, whether it's a fog application, headlight, whatever. So that's an H11, and we'll show you how to hook that up in a minute. Next, we're going to look at, this is an H3 bulb. Now keep in mind the H1, H3, and H7 bulb are all going to have this exact same connection right here. These are the spade wires. Notice again it's on this side of the grommet here, and your ballast connector is on the same side of the grommet as your bullet connectors. Again, same reason, some of them need that cap, so you got to drill that hole. Again, doesn't matter if you're working with an H1, H3, H7, they're all going to look just like this and have these same stock connectors. Now, we're going to move on to our 9006 connector. Now if you notice, the 9006 has the exact same connector as your ballast. This wire is not necessary with a 9006 hookup. That also applies to a 9005, an H10, 9145. Now we recommend you use it, and the reason being is because if you notice, you have a tab on both sides on this one, but on your ballast you only have it on one side. The reason that is because some cars, the positive and negative wire is flipped. So what you do is when you're connecting a 9006 like this together, you would pop your connector in here. Now this one, you put your stock connector into. Again, notice it's on this side of the grommet just in case you have a cap. Most 9006 applications though, you won't see the cap. It'll be straight in there, so the grommet won't be necessary. Again, bullet connectors on this side of the grommet, and those are just going to pop right in here just like this. Now when you plug in your stock connector into here, the one that was plugged into your old halogen bulb, if it doesn't come on right away, that's why you have the two tabs. And I'm going to show you with this other wire here. Imagine this is your stock connector. If I plug it in like this and the lights don't turn on, pop that out, flip that plug around, and plug it in the other way. Now if you notice, you look how my reds line up now. My blacks line up now. That may not be the case if your polarity is reversed. So it may go in like this. So you can't really use those reds and blacks to determine, which way that needs to go in on some applications. And again, it's just because the car harness actually reverses these two wires. It won't matter whether your power is coming down the black or the red here. They're both pretty much the same in that case, so it just is activating the ballast properly for the right connection here. So again, that doesn't really matter. Don't use that as a reference point. Just plug it in one way. If it doesn't kick on, flip that connector around and pop it in the other way. Okay, so that applies to any bulb, by the way. So for instance, if I have this connection right here, these two I'm going to be pushing into my factory harness. Let's imagine this is it, and it obviously doesn't fit in this case, but they're just going to push right inside there. Okay, now same thing applies. I may have to take them, flip them around, and plug it in that, sorry, it's kind of hard here, and plug it in that way. Again, the best way to tell that's to pop it in, turn the lights on. If they don't come on, flip that thing around. You won't blow any fuses, you know, nothing like that from that. They just won't make the right contact and they won't come on. So don't worry about any of that stuff. Again, for the setup we just showed here with this stock connector, that's going to be a 9005, 9006, H10, all going to be the same way, same procedure. On this connector here, this is a H3, but again, H1, H3, H7, all the same way. I'll just show you a quick pop this in. Again, pop your bullet connectors in. And again, you notice this procedure here, no matter what bulb size I have, same exact procedure. The only thing that's going to be different is where you tap into that factory harness that was plugging into your halogen. So again, same setup as the 9006 we just did. Just be careful again, you may have to swap these around when you're plugging them in. It's very common. That's pretty much the first thing we always ask everybody when they call in, because it's the most common thing we see for sure. So that's an H1, H3, H7. This connector here, this is actually for a bi-xenon bulb, high-low in one bulb, both HID. I just want to show you this because this is going to be your H4 connector here. So if you had an H4 bulb, this is going to be the one that's sitting on that side of the grommet like we talked about earlier for your stock connector. I just kind of wanted to show you guys that because that one's on its own. It's a special connector. It's the only one that uses that. And in this case, this is a H13 connector. So in my case, we had to put this adapter together. Now your bulbs will come like this. If you get the bi-xenon bulbs, it'll come with this connector. If it's a single beam, it'll look just like the other bulb, but with this on the end. And basically what this is for is this is to allow your bi-xenon to switch from high to low. Again, I just kind of wanted to show you guys the H13 connector again so you can see, and then that's going to be what your H4 is going to look like there. Again, all these are the ones that are going to be going into your factory harness, the one that was plugging into the back of your halogen bulb originally. So in my case, again, let me show you the bi-xenon now. Again, connections are all the same. Okay, you got your input connection, your bullet connections. The only difference on this bulb here that you're going to see is it's got one more additional set of wires. That's what's called your high-low switch. That's what allows it to switch from high beam to low beam. So let's hook this up real quick so you can see what it looks like. So basically what we're going to do is pop our bullet connectors in like we always did. Keep in mind there's no grommet on these. The reason being is because none of the bi-xenon bulbs use the cap like that. It may have a little rubber boot, but that would be all. It wouldn't actually have a cap. So the rubber boot would slide over that, no problem. So we hooked this up. Now we got one extra wire here. That's where this harness comes into play. You got this white wire here, white connector, sorry. You plug that in. That leaves our bulb there. Now we plug our same connector like all the other bulbs have on it. Same exact hookup. Right into here. Our only difference now is this H13 connector goes to our factory harness. Now if that was an H4, it would just be like this, right into your factory harness. So again, all the same concept, just an adapter piece if it's a H13 or a 9004-7, which I'll show you that one in a minute. A 9004-7 just has a little bit of a blue connector here instead of this black one. It's a little kind of half moon connector. I'll show you that one in a minute. Again, setup's identical though. That's all how you hook it up. That's it. The bulb twists in, this plugs into your stock harness, mount everything up, and you're done. That's a bi-xenon setup right there. Now this is a new style setup we have. This doesn't require the relay. In some cases you may need one. 99% of the time though with these new bulbs you don't need it at all. Just this harness is basically your relay now. Okay, so that's our bi-xenon bulb right